Okay guys, so still in my living room, just basically going around 360 degrees. I bought these. I don't want to show you the brand, but I don't really want to give them a bad rating, but it is the Myo pump, let's just say. Let's be honest about it. But I don't think, if you want to try these boots, try them out. So I tried them. Basically they inflate. You basically put them on like a sock, put your feet in here and then zip them up, and then they inflate and deflate. They're meant to encourage blood flow, encourage like a bit of a massage feel to get blood back. I'm going to return these because they felt really good. I'm not going to lie, it felt like getting a foot massage. It was really cool. I'm going to use them a little bit longer. There's a 60-day money back guarantee, so I'm going to probably use that because I just didn't feel any impact the next day. I actually trained this leg and I used these afterwards. The massage felt great, but I just didn't feel like I got really any benefits the next day. Same thing, I put it on my injured leg with my sort of smaller cast thingy on to keep my foot in the right position, and it felt really good, but again didn't really feel any massive difference the next day. So I'm going to return that. I might try it again in the future. Possibly I might not be able to turn it up to the higher pressures because of my injury, which means I'm not getting the full recovery on the right leg, and then maybe that's it, compromising the left leg. So maybe I'll try it again in the future. But those are the kind of the foot pumps that I was interested in. I wanted to investigate, and they did feel good. I mean, it was, I'm not gonna lie, it felt nice getting a massage and not being able to get one every night if I feel like it. It's just not worth the money if I don't feel like the recovery is there, especially because they cost a fortune. This pump and these things were like 500 quid, and that's not even the top end one. My physio actually recommended these, so I should talk more about my physio appointment, shouldn't I? So these are called blood flow restriction devices. So what happens is you put it on, don't know what I'm saying, put it around your leg, and you effectively restrict the blood flow. These are a bit of an expensive type because they've got a pump built in, but you can also get the straps that some people tend to use in gyms. And I think with the straps you kind of have to judge yourself how tight they are and how just uncomfortable it feels. Whereas with this you can regulate the pressure using a pressure gauge and an app on the phone. So these would like inflate. I could basically get my phone now, press a button, these will start inflating, restricting blood into my leg, and obviously perhaps use them on my arms as well. What would I say? First of all, I would say there is evidence, and this was recommended by my physio to try and use. So the basic concept is you reduce the blood flow in your leg, so you're able to put your leg under stress without lifting huge weights. So while I'm still not able to do massive movements, apparently there will be a benefit to restricting the blood flow. So this creates a bit of heightened stress while still just doing minimal movements on my foot. Apparently just restricting the blood flow in the leg can help retain muscle mass. There's more research, I believe, around this than these pumps, and this was actually recommended to me from my physio. So I'm going to try this out with him and report back on it more in the future. The one thing I would say is it came in this cheapo plastic bag and this thing to keep them in. I was super shocked considering how expensive these things are, and I think because this is quite new to the market, they are really expensive. These were about £200. Using a BFR podcast promo code, I managed to get 20% off, so I paid about $160, $170 for these with postage and packaging and other stuff. But they just were so poorly packaged. They don't feel like things that should cost anywhere near £200, if I'm being really honest. This feels pretty cheap and plasticky. It doesn't have a premium feel to it, but it's definitely got a premium price tag. We'll see if there's premium results which are worth paying the price for. Those are the two bits. So physio, let me quickly cover my physio appointment because I haven't talked about that. So in my physio appointment, it was rather... change this. Okay. So think this looks okay. Okay, so in my physio appointment, I met Jared from Complete Physio. Now, if you've looked at some of my other recommendations, one of the podcasts I really got a lot of value from was the Complete podcast. I ended up then just finding them as physios in London because I saw them recommended somewhere else, and I'm working now with Jared from Complete Physio. So I met him. I was really impressed that they actually, as part of the physio treatment, did an ultrasound. So that wasn't even done by the surgeon I saw privately because he preferred not to. Perhaps didn't have time. I don't know, but I was really impressed that they did that. Jared and the surgeon both kind of went down the same road, that they both think it's a full rupture because of what I said, that there's really no pain. So they would expect more pain if it was partially ruptured because your body's telling you, like, stop, don't rip me. When you're fully ripped, like, your body there's no need for the nerves or anything to signal to you, stop, there's gonna be pain because it's fully ruptured. So he looked at it and he said that he can see why the NHS thought it was a partial rupture. Maybe they're seeing some of the healing and the scar tissue that had already formed by 2 weeks. He thinks it's a full rupture. He's a little bit more, like I said earlier, in favour of the surgical route. He wants me to stay in a position and not start physio and just take a bit more time to heal. He's happy for me to put pressure on the foot in the Vacoped boot. He just doesn't want to start reducing that angle too quickly because he's more afraid, because I've not gone surgical route, of having a long Achilles tendon. He'd rather I stay like this, let things heal properly. As he said, and I've mentioned in other videos, you can undo a short tendon by stretching more and lengthening this. You can't really undo you can't undo a lengthened tendon. If it's healed long, you can't shorten it without cutting it open and actually shortening it. So he prefers I just take a little bit more time and stay in these positions. I'm seeing him in 1.5 weeks now, which will be in the middle of week 6, I believe. I just delayed my appointment because I was waiting for these to come, so they've finally come, so I'll be seeing him next week. The appointment really well, and that's pretty much it. I've got 2 people, one surgeon who's kind of in favour of and more inclined to go down that approach. And it's interesting, and I'm quite happy to be working with someone who's used to the surgical side, because you're going to get someone who's able to make that comparison, but also just put you through the rigor of someone who's gone through surgery at some point. As I imagine the recovery is the same once you get to a same sort of place. Right, let me cover the last bit of this, and this is answering questions. So I just went through and actually recorded my responses to the comment I got on my video. I'm going to have to strip this out, I think, because I end up rambling. So I'm going to strip this out into a separate video. So please watch that if you want to. I think there's some useful things to come out of it, but I'm going to take it out of this vlog and put it in somewhere else. So please tune into that. I'll link it somewhere here, or you'll find it at the end of the video, or in the description of the notes. Me getting back to some questions on here, which I think will prove useful. Oh, right guys, like I said, I'm going to show you some exercises. If you want to have a full view or full walkthrough, watch the actual exercise video. I'm just going to freestyle some now that I think are useful to have. So my 3 kind of big takeaways for lower body are, there's what we call the donkey kick. So you're down on your elbows and you're just kicking your foot to the ceiling, trying not to flex your calf, but trying to squeeze this bum muscle. You're trying to keep your hips and core really tight. So I'm not arching my back like this. You're not doing that. You're flexing your core and then just lifting from your bum. You want to feel it in your bum, not in your back, and stretching that and arching out. The other one is called a fire hydrant. So from here, you're just bending your knee in, lifting it out to the side. You're not trying to open your hips up to the ceiling like that, which you could do. Trying to keep your belly button and navel pointed at the ground. And you're just trying to lift this knee up. You should feel this glute firing up nicely. So keeping the belly button in, core nice and tight. Trying to get that knee up as much as you can. Yeah, so just bring the knee up. And the other one I like to do is like this. And you can kind of take your hands forward, but I just start this off maybe with your hands behind you, so you get idea of what it is. You can do it on both feet. Trying to get this quad flexed and your hip flexors, and you're just trying to lift your foot off the ground. You can make this harder. I suggest you kind of do this at least with hands in front eventually. And even if your leg doesn't go anywhere, you're still using the muscle. So if you're like pulling and your leg's not lifting, it's okay. You're still putting the work in. Eventually it will lift. And just take your hands even more forward. That takes your lower back out of it and focuses more on the leg. Let's see if you can get that leg off the ground. You'll feel it in your core. You can do the same with this leg. When you're doing it, try not to use your calf. You can obviously point, maybe try to point the toe more than anything else if there's some movement going on there, so you're kind of making sure the space is not expanding. Again, do it at your own risk. And this thing weighs between 2 and 3 kilograms, so this is going to be harder than the other side. But as you can see, this quad is working. I'm putting some work into these legs and not losing that. There's obviously other stuff you can do, but I think those 3 are pretty cool for lower body. Think about doing a plank on your knees. So you can do a plank like this, actually a box plank, but really you're focusing on trying to hollow out that lower back, so you want it to be flat, not arched like this. Taking nice deep breaths. With every breath you're trying to lift your belly button back in, but you never let it go. I can feel the stress of that myself already. Maybe you can do it on your knees lower down and see how that feels. Again, with every breath you take in, you try and bring the belly button up, but when you breathe out, you leave it there. So your belly button is getting closer and closer to your spine, and that feels like a workout. You can obviously do things like press-ups. Again, not arching your back. Nice press-ups, 10, 20, I don't know, however many you want to do. Then you've got a nice little bit of an upper body workout. I have a bar, it's called a power bar. I had it since I was 15. That you can hang in the doorway. It's actually a really smart idea. It doesn't need any screws or anything. And I do some pull-ups, chin-ups. I use some rings on it, like gymnast rings, or if you have a TRX, where I'm able to pull my body up. But you'll see that in the exercise video. I think these should give you something to do. And you can always do something else for abs, so down, up, trying to hands to the ceiling, face looking forward. You can do dead bug, just like this, extending hands, extending opposite leg and opposite foot. What else? Something called 100. This is more of a Pilates exercise. And then you just flutter. So you breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, fluttering, and then 5 pulses breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you just keep going. I think that's enough. Right guys, end of week 4's vlog. Please do a bit of exercise if it feels good, and I will catch you in week 5.